Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 267 of the Willu Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now, today's episode is titled Safety First. Now, I see wrestling is already a dangerous enough sport. Um, the wrestlers, myself included, are performing stunts trying to look like they hurt way more than they hurt. Although a lot of times they really do hurt, most of the time they do hurt, and they're very dangerous, and people could get way more seriously injured than we've seen, and we've seen a lot of injuries over the years. But it seems that, especially on the indie shows, because the budget is not as high, that there's been a lot of close near misses, I guess you could say. I see all the time. For me, my own personal experience, due to the fact that I've never wrestled on a show that had guardrails, I've landed on fans a couple of times doing a move to the outside, and one time I even kicked a fan in the head in Orangeville, and it makes me feel bad that someone's going to get hurt. And I've also seen the photographers. They like to get close to the action to get the good shots. Well, a couple of times they've got really close to being seriously injured. They've gotten hit or landed on or bumped or whatever. And especially one, they're not trained how to take a fall. Two, they got their camera. Three, whether they fall or not, they could fall on a fan. The planters and the dives are really the most dangerous thing for this. When anytime you do something to the outside, but you also get instances, maybe not as much anymore, where you get the fans that really hate the bad guys and they want to, they want to say that they could beat them up or they wish they could or they actually want to, especially if there's alcohol involved. And that's why I think there needs to be more security guards at wrestling or, like I said, guardrails, because one of these times somebody's going to take it too personal or have a few much to drink, and something's going to happen. And we've seen this over the years where the wrestlers have had to defend themselves in the business. But I mean, in this day and age, I really don't hope it happens or hope it doesn't happen. Another thing, I would really like for if people could have gym mats or some kind of mats outside the ring. I mean, it's crazy enough. It's still going to hurt the bumps. They're still just as impressive, but a little bit of extra layer of cushioning would make it a lot safer, a lot better. People would, feel more comfortable doing these risky moves. Also with kids, I find little kids, they can't help themselves. They get so into it, and then, at first they act usually good when they first come to the show, and then they've been there a couple of times, and they start coming to a show regularly, and then they start to feel like they're part of the show, and they want to jump up and get close. Like, I know for myself, my entrance, I run around as fast as I could around the ring, and that's dangerous in itself because, I mean, at the last show, I knocked someone's beer out of their hand. I slipped on the beer and fell on the floor. Luckily, I didn't fall on anybody, but sometimes I'm running around so fast and the kids are trying to get up there. Like, I've almost knocked down kids, but then also in the matches, they want to get right up close. Or the worst thing to me, I find, is during the intermission, every single time I see it, or sometimes even right after the show, the kids want to climb on the ring and they want to get in there. And man, if one of those kids falls and gets seriously hurt, someone's going to have a major lawsuit, or hopefully not. Hopefully the parents will realize it was their fault for not, watching them or telling them to not go on there. But I just would hate to see something bad happen where there's some kind of a lawsuit involved, where a fan gets hurt from any of the instances that I've talked about, or anything like that. Also, I did this one show recently, the Botchamania show, where there's no guardrails, so he went to do an elbow on me through a table, and the table didn't break, so it flipped. And lucky they told the fans to get back, but a couple of them crept back up, and the table nearly slid and could have poked someone's eye out with the table leg or something. Like, that's really dangerous. The hardcore matches are really dangerous because, like you have the thumbtacks and stuff like that, and or especially when they use the glass, that drives me nuts because they have a guy come out or a girl come out and sweep everything up, but they're not gonna get every single piece of thumbtack or every single piece of glass. I mean, I've had a glass break in my house and swept it again, and a couple weeks later there's still a piece of glass that I end up stepping on thinking I got it all. But those kind of things, or like even like with a chair shot or the chair breaks and a piece goes flying off, or anything like that, or like if the table breaks, what if a piece flies out and hits the crowd? I mean, I know I'm kind of being, you know, these things are very rare that they're gonna happen, but when something does, it's gonna be a big deal. So we should start being more safe how we promote the shows, and anytime we do these kind of spots or anything like that, we gotta really think them through. That there's no flying debris or anything going anywhere near the fans. Um, and it's not just the fans. Obviously, I'm really worried about the wrestler safety as well. I mean, everybody that gets into wrestling knows that it's unsafe and that there's a chance of injury, but we got to do what we can to make that percentage less likely to happen. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is a major safety concern at the shows? What is something that can be done that can really increase the safety that maybe doesn't cost a lot of money? I mean, not all these indie promotions have a lot of money to spend. What can we do to change this and make it safer and these kind of things? Like I noticed in hockey, the pucks go flying out of play and it hits people, or sometimes the bat slips out of the hand in baseball. But they have like these screens and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying wrestling should get screens, because these kind of things don't happen as often in wrestling. But there's got to be something people can come up with. That's why I want to hear from you guys. As always, on the Willow Show, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe or you get a suplex. Let me hear. What is a safety concern you have about wrestling, and what is an idea you may have that can help make it more safe for everybody involved, the wrestlers, the ringside crew, the other performers, and the fans as well. This is episode 267 of The Willow Show. I'm your host, Eluan Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba.